Okay, very good. Yes, Gaurav, feel awkward. That's exactly what happens, right? Uh, that's good. And okay, okay, Brahm is started talking in his IAM language. In a Darwinian world, it's important to blow the trumpet, which is good. Like, I mean, we should, okay? Uh, yes, it's a complete opposite to our belief system. Absolutely, Yuvraj. That's very true. Because from our childhood, this is how we have been grown up. That, I mean, you should not talk about yourself. That's not right, and so on and so forth. So, which is right. And certainly, yes, self promotion is an art. And if you can actually put it on the everyone, so that everyone can see this rather than only to me. If you can put this for everyone, it will be good. Yes, KK,
Joseph,
Western world.
you've made your setting like that. Only send the message to Joseph or Abhinav. It's not. There's
Oh,
no
okay.
option of
Sorry, I
everyone.
will probably next time I'll change it. Now I don't want to fiddle anything. Very good. So, okay, Rajat, there's a difference between bragging and letting everybody know about your achievements and skills. Okay, wonderful. So I'm glad, like, I mean, we all agree that in our culture, in our culture, it becomes a lot more difficult to actually talk about this, right? Uh, and hopefully by end of this session, I have convinced you guys, all of you, that there is a part where you can trumpet about yourself, and there's a way to go about doing it, and we all should do that, right? If we don't uh, talk about ourselves, nobody else will talk about it. Nobody else is going to talk about us. Uh, okay, so I let me start. Let me start this. I hope all of you are able to see my screen. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We need to blow our trumpet. That's my, and why should we do it? The premises is that if we don't talk about our achievements, nobody else will talk about our achievements. Most often, I have sat through an annual appraisal period, and I will be sitting there, and the manager will only say, okay, you're not done this, you're not done that, or very few things that I have done. And I come out very resentful. Or even when I'm looking around, everybody is talking about their achievements. I don't, because the culture says I should not, but I grow resentful within me. And which is a normal case that I have seen when I talk to different people. I have seen this as a very normal thing. So let's see what we can do and how we can do that. Okay. And I want to start with this particular quote. When we were talking about mimicking our masters, I said Alan Weiss is one of the masters that I mimic. And so I'm going to start with this particular quote. Confidence is the honest to God belief that you can help others. If you have that, if you can help others, I may not be able to help in everything, but I might be able to help in few things. As long as I'm able to help somebody, say for example, Abhinav, I can help him in blogging. I can help Sajal in networking, something that I can help, and I know that I can help, then that's all is needed. That's confidence. And we need to start at that confidence. The problem is we know we can do it, but we are not confident. And Aditi asked about this while I was chatting before I started the session. We think that we are not confident, even though we have done this umpteen number of times. That's where we need to start. If we are to blow our trumpet, we need to start with the confidence. And the confidence comes with the self-belief that I can help others. In one way or the other, I can help others. That's where it starts. I want to start with a personal story where how I came to know about this and how I started doing this and how I'm here. In 1996, 7, when I was in my first job, my first multinational company, I was a programmer there. And in my free time, I was working on, in the company, I was working on sending an email automatically. You click a button, it will send out an email. Today, it might seem very weird and strange, but it was really, really tough. Those periods, about 20 years back, it was not possible at all, not very easily. So I did that. And while having a cup of coffee, I was talking about that particular problem, the problem that I faced in sending an email automatically using Visual Basic. I was talking about that to a friend of mine, a colleague, project mate. Guess what? He said, "Hey, Joseph, this is exactly the problem that I'm facing in my project. So, how did you do that?" Of course, they were doing it in a different technology, Power Builder, but the fundamentals remain the same. So, I explained to him how I did it and everything. He went and told his project manager that I am the one who helped him to implement it. That guy turned out to be Sastri, whom I talked about in the previous session, that he's my personal mentor. He took me under his umbrella, and he referred me in 3 different projects or clients and giving me break in 3 times. And also because of him, I went to the US, my first ever on-site trip. And subsequently, I was able to go to Belgium. All of that happened because I was open enough to talk about what I have done with a colleague of mine. So when you trumpet yourself, when you talk about what you have done and what you are doing, you are on a dope. You get dollars. As I said, like I mean, I was able to go abroad. You get opportunities again, not only in one time, 3 different times. Mr. Sastri helped me in a career break, and you get different positions, and you also get esteem from others because you have done something which others find difficult, right? So when you talk about what you have done, when you trumpet about yourself, you get dollars, opportunities, positions, and esteem. That's absolutely important. So you have to understand why you are doing it. Rest everything can follow. If you are not convinced why you should do it, then probably nothing else will come in. So I have convinced you that you need to do this. As KK said, the Westerners are very, very good in it. And they would have done, probably they have written a self-published book. Only 10 people have bought it, and they will go and brag about it. Vice president of this bank bought this particular book. You will find it useful, and so on and so forth, and which will start a flywheel of more sales, and more sales bring in more revenue. More revenue gives him ability to invest in marketing, and so on and so forth, right? But we need to understand, we need to learn good things, and we need to learn to trumpet ourselves. So let me talk about, okay, I hope I have convinced you to say why you should trumpet. Now let's talk about what you should trumpet. And that is where I think the difference lies. Because what we have seen outside in the world, in the society, that people trumpet about, and we see that and we say, okay, this is not what I want to be, right? It is very distasteful, very resentful. So we say, okay, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that particular person, right? This is what we have seen most often. People trumpet what they have. I have a BMW car. I have a Cabrio car. I have an iPhone. Whatever. What I have is what people talk about all the time. They trumpet about this. So this is very distasteful. People do not like this. And so when we see this, when people talk about this, hey, that guy is really a very arrogant person, proud person, and so on and so forth. If you peel the layer, most probably it's about they are trumpeting about their haves. The other side of the other point is they talk about what they are, bees. Like now Trump is saying, my IQ is better than everybody else. Like we will all talk about, I am from Stanford, I am from IIT. I worked in Infosys when it started. It's about all be what I am. That again, not all the time that will work good. But what you should talk about, which you should, these 2 things you should not, what you have and what you are, but what you should talk about definitely is what you have done, which is what I'm talking about. You should talk about your achievement. You should talk about what you are doing, or what's the problem that you are encountering in doing what you are doing. that when you talk about it, it actually benefits everybody else. Say, for example, I take this particular webinar and weekly I'm doing it. And if I go and talk about what is the mental challenge that I face when every week I need to do this, what are the tools that I use to do this every week? What are the tools that I'm using to reach out to people? When I talk about it, it helps people. And people want to actually hear that. They want to know, how can Joseph do this every week? Where is his topic coming from? The head, whatever the content that he's talking about, where is it coming from? How can he find inspiration and motivation to do it persistently for 10 weeks? People want to know because they all want to do something like this. Maybe somebody is wanting to follow their passion, photography, and they want to do that on a continuous basis, but they do that for 3 days, 4 days, and then they fail. So they want to know how somebody can do this. Say, for example, Sarang goes on a cycling every day. Maybe Abhinav wants to know how he finds time and inspiration to do this every day while also working. I'm also in the same industry. I'm also in the same group. I am not able to do it. That people actually want to hear. So when we are talking about trumpeting, I am not talking about haves. I am not talking about bees, but I'm talking about do's. What we have done and what we are doing and what the problem that we are facing. That is what people want to hear. Now, at this point in time, I want to stop and I want to ask, is it clear? Do you agree? What are your questions? If you have any questions?
Hello.
You can put it on the chat. You can put it on one-on-one chat also.
I have a question, Joseph.
Yes.
Yes, please. It is not that we achieved something, but suppose if we've got an idea and we discuss it with someone, and he or she presents that idea to the seniors as his or her own idea. Sometimes mind picking does it. Have you ever faced it? And if faced, what was the solution you had?
Yeah, it happens. It happens multiple times because you don't know whom you're talking to, whether you can trust them or not. But that's a very different area because we are not talking about sharing your ideas and brainstorming on the ideas. We are talking about what you have accomplished, and we can talk about that on a subsequent time. Vrinda, you are absolutely right. Hold on to that. That is one of the next slides that I have. You need to understand the audience before whatever that you are doing. That's absolutely fine point, and I'm going to talk about that. Brahm, see, if you have done it, I agree most of the things that you are doing in the corporate world, probably it is a teamwork. It is done by everybody else. Yes. So in that particular case, you can't take all the credit. You should know when to give the credit. But what I have seen is a lot more hypocritical is that actually I did it and I'm saying, you know what, very, very false humility. It's my team. Heart of hearts, I want somebody to say, no, Joseph, you did it. You gave a leadership. And I'm expecting somebody else will say that. The other party will tell me, no, Joseph, you did it. Please accept my congratulations or whatsoever. I'm expecting it, but it's a false humility. So you need to differentiate that particular piece. There is absolutely nothing wrong in you saying, this is what I did, and this is what I did not do, and the team did it. Or, as I said, these are the things that my master did it, my mentor did it. It's absolutely fine to say that, right? Okay. Sarang, so what you are saying is something different. Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Yes, Ramesh, that's a very valid question. What's the difference? Where's the fine line between the right line between trumpeting about yourself and boasting? That's a very fine line. You will realize it as you go along. That's the way you can do it. You need to start doing it. The problem is we want a perfect solution. I have to absolutely know this. See, when I started this webinar, weekly show, I didn't figure out a lot of stuff. I didn't even have, I had one laptop, that's it. I didn't have any other infrastructure, any other system to do it. In fact, Shakir helped me quite a bit in giving me feedback on these are the things that you could do. So he came up and gave me that, but I had to start. So the point is, in everything, if you can start, then there are always good people around. They will come around and say, hey, you could do this better. Hey, you could have a different mic. Hey, you could have a different lighting. So they can all come in, but you need to start, and that's where it starts. Okay, Sajal, do you have any question?
No, I think someone asked the difference between I just what my idea of the difference between blowing your own trumpet and what was the word boasting,
Boasting.
right? So I
Yeah,
think
that's
boasting in my opinion, when I say that person was boasting wouldn't be like sharing your achievements, but also it would be more trying to make the other person feel inferior in a manner, or probably try to establish your.
Sajal, I differ here, and my experience here,
Okay.
Sajal, is that if you are dealing with underperformers, if the gang that you are in, the group that you are in, they have not achieved things, they are not ambitious, they are not going after their goals, they are not going after their ambitions, they are underachievers, they are resentful in themselves. In that particular gang, you go and say, okay, I have done this, you are always going to have problem. But if you are among the peers, people who are ambitious equally and they are good, I mean, they want you to succeed because they want to say, hey, I am a friend to Sajal who did this. I am a friend to Mr. Kurana, who is one of the top PR professional in India. I want to say that, right? So most often, if we are around people who are going after ambition, who are chasing their goals, then it doesn't actually, it actually works. Talking about your achievement actually works. In fact, if you see every community, whether it is Thai, CMA, you talk about any community, what do they talk when they go? Hey, I have this tax problem. How did you resolve it? I have a hiring problem. How did you resolve it? What is that? They all want to know how you did it. How did you grow from 1 crore revenue to 30 crore revenue? How did you expand to Malaysia? What is that? It's all about achievements. They all want to talk about it. So if you are among the peers who are in that particular category, then definitely they all want to actually listen to you and they want to share how they have accomplished. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my presentation. So we talked about what you should trumpet. Now, how can I get started? So let me see how I can give you, Vrinda. I hope I'm able to answer to this. So we talked about why it is needed. I said you need to do this if you need to, because nobody else will do it actually. The simple answer is nobody else will do this. So you need to do it. Secondly, what you should trumpet. You should trumpet about what you are doing and not about what you have or what you are. Now, okay, you can say, okay, fine, Joseph, I understand. I need to do this. And what I need to trumpet, I understand. But how do I get started? First and foremost is you need to know your audience. Whom are you talking to? Many times what happens is we don't understand the audience. And that is where the problem, most of the problems that we have discussed today, it comes from. Say, for example, you are a developer and you are on LinkedIn. Many times what happens is you will just put in some code or you will say, okay, fine. There was a survey about the languages and JavaScript is the best language or most people are following it and so on and so forth. Without really knowing whom you want to attract. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to, do you want to attract a CTO with whom you want to work? Or do you want to gain esteem of your fellow colleagues? Or do you want to attract somebody, a headhunter, who is looking for a JavaScript developers. You need to know that there could be over a long period of time, there could be an overlap, but you need to know who your audience is. Are you talking about your peers? Or are you talking about your seniors? Or are you talking about some kind of a businessman? Okay, so you need to understand that. Yes, Krishna, please go ahead.
Yeah, so Joseph, when you talk about this sort of like focused, choose your audience, right? So, for example, from what you're saying, so I'm not going to be in the job market all the time, right? So to attract headhunters all the time. So probably whenever I may need to jump or I'm looking out, probably that's the time when I may be looking or targeting these guys. But I feel that our positioning has to be or our niche or the what we communicate, right? Like the areas that we communicate should be constant, irrespective of the time duration or the context. Does that make sense, or how
Okay.
your thought?
This is how I think about it, Krishna. One, you don't go and deposit in your bank when you need money. You should have deposited earlier before you need money, right? Similarly, you don't go for jogging and exercise after your health has deteriorated. You do that prior to that. So likewise, when I need a job, I cannot go and build my profile because I'm not going to be visible at all. So you need to do things prior to your need. That's first point. It could be anything. It could be, I'm not saying your whole target market is job profile. But let's say, for example, I say in next 6 months, I want to switch my job. Forget about people losing jobs because of COVID. Leave that. Okay. Let's say, for example, I decide in next 6 months, I want to switch my job. I can't start doing it in June. I need to start doing it today. So that's the first point. You need to do things prior to your need. That's one. Two, say, for example, I might say, Joseph, now I'm a CTO, I might say, I want to gain esteem of my fellow peer of CTOs. I could be that. Or I could say, okay, I want to position myself as a MarTech guy, not really as a technologist in, say, for example, an IT services company. So I am actually targeting a CMO. Maybe because I don't want to switch my job, but I want to gain leads for my company, but from a MarTech perspective. So I am positioning myself like that. So, but over the period, let's say, for example, in 6 months, I might switch to a different context. That's okay. But the point is you need to do it before you hit the need. Okay. And as I said, secondly, you can change the context as you go along. Okay. Hopefully I have answered.
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah. I got that. Yeah, thank you.
Now, so first thing is you need to choose your audience. It is absolutely important. We do not, and as I said, you can change your audience as you go along, but you need to start with an audience. And as I said, as you go along, good people will come around and say, hey, you know what? Why are you doing this? In fact, it has happened to me a lot of times. I will blog about certain things. My mentor will read it. He will come back and say, why are you doing this? This is not what you are. And then I will tell him, this is why I'm doing it. And he will say, okay, there is a better way of doing it, right? There are always good people ready to help, but you need to show that you are doing something. You're done your homework. Only then they will be able to help you. And if you have any questions or on this, you can go back and refer to my earlier presentation, the last week's one, where I talked about how you want to mimic your master. And somebody asked, how can I reach out to somebody? So they have to see that you are serious about it. You are doing your work, just that you are being a little lost, because all of us are lost. Say, for example, I'm doing this webinar and this is new thing for me. This particular content is okay, but this webinar, facilitation, engaging audience, especially virtual, I don't know anything about it. But only when I do this, somebody sees this, then when I go and tell them, hey, I have this particular problem, they can give me specific feedback. So I need to know my audience, first thing. Once I know my audience, what is your message to them? Because there is so much of chaos. Everywhere, there is so much of messages that are coming in. can you stand out? Can you simplify the message? Can you give them in a proper sequence? Can you give them in a proper structure? That is when you are going to be noticed. Like, say, for example, I am calling this as gravitas wins. That's rememberable. And then you can ask, okay, what is gravitas? Then I can engage with you on the conversation. So you need to say, okay, this is my message. It could be any of those kinds of stuff. It could be technical, it could be business, it could be marketing. Like KK, he could have easily said, I'm a marketing guy. But he comes around and says, how can storytelling help business? That's my niche. That is what I'm talking about. Fundamentally, if you actually peel the layers, he is a marketing guy. But how does he call himself? I'm a business storyteller. What is that? That then starts the engagement. So likewise, you need to bring in your own point of view, bring in a clarity in the chaotic world. Because everybody is having bombarded with messages, especially in this particular COVID, especially since we have all moved to a virtual world of meetings, there are so many messages that are coming in. How can you stand out? What is your point of view on that particular audience? For that particular audience, what is your point of view? It needs to be clear. Choose a platform. When you are starting, we are talking about how do you get started. After you have started, probably you can do a lot of other things. But when you are starting, please choose a platform and optimize for that particular platform, because each platform optimizes different things. One of the mistakes that I did, and this is what I'm talking about, okay? You say what you've done. One of the mistakes I've done is that I would write in my blog, I'll go to LinkedIn, I'll just share that URL. Guess what? LinkedIn will not even make it visible to anybody for that matter. What I realized, again, this all comes because when you're doing it, you can ask for specific questions. I asked, why is this happening? That is when somebody said, oh, you know what? You need to make that particular platform look good, which means don't share your URL, post a snippet of that particular content, whatever that content is, and then if you want to share the URL, share it as a comment. That's how LinkedIn works. Twitter works differently, right? So different platforms work differently. So when you are starting, start with one platform, optimize it, do it for at least 90 days. This is what I tell everybody. Do something for 90 days, 12 weeks, you do it. That is when you will gain quite a lot of confidence, quite a lot of experience. Then you can say, okay, you know what? I like it, I'm going to continue to do it. I don't like it, I am going to switch to a platform. Or now I know how this works. I have put in structures and systems. Now I can go to some other platform, or I can go on to another platform. Now, as I said, I've been blogging for quite long. So from blogging, I went into LinkedIn. From LinkedIn, I went into YouTube using these kinds of videos, weekly videos. Now I have also started a podcast because I've been doing this. I do it for 90 days. I gain what are the systems that I need to do, what are the structures that I need to do, how can I make it efficient. Once I have, to some extent, I have come to that, I switch to the next one. I can go on stacking this platform. But when you start, please stick to one platform. Any of this platform is fine. For all professionals, I would say you have to go start with LinkedIn, but any other platform is also okay. Say, for example, Sajal, she pioneers in Instagram, and she has done a little bit on YouTube as well. You could be on any of these platforms, but you should start with one platform. And I'm going to give you some examples. Some comments have come in, so let me see what those comments are. And some chats have come. Yes, the action speaks louder than words. Okay, fair enough. Okay. You cannot send, okay, yes, Bram. You are killing it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples from people who are here actually. And all of them happen to be my own students. So this is from Gagan. Again, he is working in a non-profit organization in the area of vision care, and this is what he has said. So this is what he is doing. Again, it is not about who he is. He's not saying I'm a sales officer in a non-profit organization. Please like me. He's saying, this is what I do. And I love this particular thing. I've told him, I've told to others also, I posted this in LinkedIn as well. This is a fantastic storytelling in a very, very short 10, 15 lines. He is starting with a contrast. He's saying, hey, the tea drinkers, our live day starts with a very privileged position of having a cup of Assam tea. He is contrasting, juxtaposing is to the tea worker. He's saying, hey, you know what? They have to walk kilometers. Their back is loaded, and so on and so forth. He's giving a conflict there. And he goes around and resolves that particular conflict by saying, hey, you know what? We are donating this eyeglasses to them. We help them improve their productivity. It is almost like they live happily ever after. And if you see this, it's a very good example about the storytelling, but it's also about blowing your own trumpet in a proper manner. Nobody will go and say, hey, you know what? This is distasteful. You are blowing your own trumpet in a wrong manner. This is exactly what I'm talking about as blowing your own trumpet. Again, if you have your LinkedIn link, you can put it on the chat. I will share it with everybody so that people can connect with you. This is one fantastic, fine example for LinkedIn. Very fine, right? Now, Sejal, again, Gravitas Wins a student. Now, you might say, hey, you know what? Okay, Gagan is a sales guy. He has experience, so he can talk about something. What do? I'm a junior. I have nothing. A smart thing that Sajjal has done, she went and interviewed a billionaire for her YouTube portal. Fantastic example. And again, she is not saying, hey, you know what? I am this, I'm this, I'm this. She interviewed this particular person, and this whole thing is about the interview, about what this person learned, and what are the lessons that he would teach to others, and so on and so forth, right? Amazing example. If you are a beginner, nobody credits you with certain work that you have done, an accomplishment that you have done. Then you can stand on the shoulders of the others. That's another example from YouTube, the different platform that we are talking about. Sajal, if your YouTube link is with you, you can share it. I will put it on share it with others so that they can connect with you. Okay, this is a technical example. So here Rishabh is saying, how do I use PostgreSQL with Golang? Technical, very technical blog, not LinkedIn, blog. How do I use? He's doing this and then he's showing to others and saying, okay, this is how you will use it. Again, doing example. He's not talking about, I am great, I'm a Golang developer. None of those things. He's talking about what he is doing and what he has done. Sometimes you might also say, you know what, you might have these problems when you are installing Golang with Windows. So be aware of it. Again, people want to read that because when they are installing on Golang on Windows, they might have some problem and they want to avoid that before they get into that. So they want to read it. That's a good example about what you can post in blogs. Okay. Again, Rishabh, if you have your Medium post or link or LinkedIn URL, please put it on chat. I will share it with others. And Rishabh, the Vibor, again, a very good example about what he has done. He watched a movie on Netflix, My Octopus Teacher. He has read that. He has seen that. He is connecting it with remote work. So something he has done, something of his insight. He's saying, hey, you know what? While we are working in remote, probably you need to build trust. What's the best way of building trust? I'm going to derive from the movie that I watched, My Octopus Teacher. And this is what I saw. And I saw some of those concepts resonate with me while I am leading a team as a product manager. So again, what I have done, I have seen this movie, what I have done, I am leading my team and I am deriving certain insights from this, right? That's a fantastic example from a blog perspective. Vibor, if you have your Medium link and LinkedIn link, if you can post it on the chat, I will share it with others as well. Okay. So, and obviously I need to put my own thing here, but I'm going to put it as somebody else saying it. Brahm has been here. So he is in IEM. This is a very good example in multiple ways. That's why I said it's a comprehensive example. One, You might ask, okay, how do I build network? Brem, do you want to talk about how you are building network, especially you are organizing certain events and you are building networking, you are building your relation with all the speakers who are coming in. And do you want to talk about it for a couple of minutes?
Group of around 7 peers. So we decided to take up an initiative, and we started a platform called as Consociate. So it means to associate. So the main aim of Consociate is to bring the industry leaders and thought leaders to a single platform, restricted only to the IMK peers. So we are 500 members in the current batch. So it is a platform for all the 500 people to meet a thought leadership guy and take insights from him or her. So we are already done with 2 sessions. First was done with the CT of Barclays, and second was an amazing insight session by Joseph. So we have a couple of more sessions lined up with Titan CEO and IBM CMO. So in this way, why I joined this platform was to network with such thought leaders. So being in a core member team, I get to know such people from face to face. So I connect with them on LinkedIn, get to know what they wish to talk about, and I also share in an implicit manner. I also share what is my roadmap, and this is how I will lay my roadmap and take their suggestions. So it is a win-win situation for both me as well as the thought leaders, as well as for my peers. So this is one of the reasons I joined Consociate.
Thank you, Pram. So, say for example, you say, okay, fine, Joseph, I don't know what to do. I want to meet people, but I don't know how to do it. You start something. I want to meet people. So what did I do? I started this Thursday shows. Thursday shows probably only with, I thought only with a few friends. And then now we are about 25, 30 people who are joining in every week. You start something, start doing something. Then you can fine tune that, right? So Brahm, he has started this particular thing in his college. And obviously he is interacting with CEOs and CTOs, CXOs. Guess what? When he comes out of this MBA program, he is going to, it's very easy, right? So he can approach any of these guys and say, hey, you know what, I'm here. He doesn't even have to ask for a job. People are going to look out for him. This is a fantastic example. And then he is putting that out on LinkedIn and saying, hey, you know what, we are arranging this. Again, trumpeting in a very subtle manner, putting forth his skills, he is building his skills, and he is building in public. He is doing all of this in public in LinkedIn as he is building it. People want to know about it. Say, for example, some of you might approach him. Like, say, for example, Ramesh he's also doing an MBA. He might connect with Brahm and say, hey, you know what? I also want to do something like this in my college. How do I do it? How do you approach a CEO? And Brahm can talk about it. Brahm wouldn't have been able to talk about it if he did not talk about his achievement as he is talking about it in LinkedIn. I hope it is becoming clear to all of you. If you have any questions, let me know. So this is how you need to do it. And I have shared all of the LinkedIn profiles for all of the people. So feel free to connect with them. They will all be very happy to talk to you, give you any advice that you need to have. Any questions so far? Okay. Let me go around.
Not a question, just you once shared when you were talking about the LinkedIn profile, you shared the LinkedIn profile of a lady. Could you please put that name in chat, that link in chat today?
I think it's Sajal.
No, it was not Sajal, some foreign lady. When you were talking about how to build your LinkedIn profile, that was the session.
Okay, I don't have it with me right now. I'll send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so if I have to summarize this particular talk, do interesting things, trumpet about the interesting things. If you do that, that's all is needed. You have to start doing something. If you have nothing, start learning a language and you say, okay, this is what I'm learning, this is how I'm learning. Say, for example, all of the technology people, you can start learning a particular language, JavaScript, Rust, whatever that language is, or TypeScript. You can learn a particular language and say, okay, this is how I can install, this is how I'm Dockerizing it, this is how I'm doing it. Say, for example, you are a marketer. Again, you can go and talk about, say, for example, like what KK does. You can break down some of the best copywriting ads, and then you can say, okay, this is what is behind this particular, the best copywriting. You can talk about that, or these are the inspiring copywriting for me, or these are the inspiring speeches. They are in a storytelling format, so on and so forth. You start doing things, and then you start saying, okay, this is what I'm doing, right? That's the way to do it. And if you need help, I teach a Gravitas Wins course. All of the examples that I said, it's all from Gravitas Wins, where I talk about you need to have an insight. So as we talked about, when we are talking about trumpeting versus boasting, boasting is almost always about what I have, what I am. That is boasting. That is no. But when we are talking about what I am doing, which everybody wants to know, right? So that's an insight. That's a differentiation. What's the difference between wealth and rich? Riches is just money, but wealth is with a purpose, right? So that insight is what is going to differentiate you from the rest of the crowd. And you need to have wealth, you need to have network. All success is social. You need a community. So this particular community, we meet every Sunday. The course is over. Every Sunday, we have an accountability hour. Every week, we meet and we say, okay, this is what we are planning to do. This is what we have done. This is what we have accomplished. This is the plan for us in the next week. And we do this all the time, all the week. And people are, I am improving. This week has been a fantastic, phenomenal week for me. Why? Because I have a community who is encouraging me, who is giving me tips, and so on and so forth. Okay. And this is how some of the people have benefited. Most of the people are, I think all of them are here, including I think all of them are here. They all have benefited. Thank you so much. Have a life of wins. If you have any questions, I'm open for discussions.
Yeah, Joseph. Hi, this is Gaurav. Joseph, this is a very interesting topic, blowing your trumpet, and like I said, there's an awkwardness. I think the reason is conditioning, how I've been brought up, and we've never been able to, although I'm an extrovert by nature, but haven't been able to, talk about things or market myself per se the way that I see other people doing with ease, with flamboyance and ease. And I struggle with that because, and I really would want to work on this. So, let's say I'm coming up with a book. I've written a book and it releases in a month's time, and I'm really now very interested in branding myself, pushing myself as a brand. So when does it when we talk about blowing our own trumpet, and you've put it across so well of talking about the do's and everything. So there definitely is a line, and the line is almost a fatigue that we have with other people, and we don't accept other people. We are almost rummaging through information. There's so much information available. So how do you feel a person like me now, at a certain age, competing with the youngsters? How does one compete with this? There's almost a bombardment of these youngsters who are more savvy, more aggressive, and me at 46, I feel I'm almost fighting a lost cause in battle when it comes to aggression and flamboyance and blowing my own trumpet. So how does age play a role in this, and how does one get over that?
Very valid question. There's quite a lot of questions there's a lot of sub questions in your question.
Sorry about
you said no. It's good. You said you at 46 you are fighting this particular battle. I'm 50, and I'm fighting this battle in front of all of you, right? So first of all, if there is nothing else, you can take inspiration from me saying that, okay, if this guy is fighting, then I'm no worse. I can also do that. So that's one. Two, what's your book about?
Startups. It's called Startup Just Startup.
Okay, so it's about startup. So I mean, you know the audience. Like, I mean, again, I don't know all the startups guys are there in LinkedIn, but that's where I will start. Why did you write the book? Not really the book itself, but why did you write the book? What's the problem that it is solving? And you can connect with me. I'm going to post this. So if people, if you have not subscribed to my newsletter, I send every Wednesday. I send out a newsletter where I talk about these things. Gaurav, you can connect with me on the same URL. And
So, Joseph, you would have noticed I'm coming to a few of your sessions, and I'm very interested in Gravitas wins. So I'm going to connect with you offline, and let's take this forward. Okay.
Yeah, let's take this forward. But the point is, I mean, multiple questions, right? You are never old to do this. Mr. Kurana is 10 years older than me, and he's still doing this. He has changed his domain, and he is doing it. Awesome. I take inspiration from him. So
he's a legend. Kurana Saab is a
he's a legend. Yes, absolutely. So I mean, the first thing is, I mean, this. And then Sajal rightly says, don't compete, collaborate. So you can look for, we will talk about one another session where we will talk about how you can use a platform, how you can collaborate, and so on and so forth. But that's another thing that I would say. Okay. Any other questions? Hey, David, thanks for joining in. David Solsing. Any other questions?
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Ramesh has asked this particular question. Yes. I mean, very interesting question. In another session that I said, success is social. That means when you have number of people who wants you to succeed, then you will succeed. So the question that he's asking, which is very relevant to this particular thing, is that, okay, you have people who want you to succeed, but how can you make them blow your trumpet? Now, I am assuming, Ramesh, and I've seen this last time, after the last session, Ashwini posted on her WhatsApp status that, I attended this particular session. It was awesome. I didn't ask her to do it. She found value and she liked the format and she went and posted on the WhatsApp. So the point is, if the group feels that you are delivering value, you are pursuing it, and you are vulnerable, and you are open for that vulnerability, then they will go and talk about it in one fashion or the other. The problem is they will not talk about it in the way that you want them to talk about. Say, for example, I might say, Ashwini should have posted on LinkedIn and not in WhatsApp. Too bad. They will do what they like to do, but they will always do it. If you provide value, they will always do that. People will do that. So the first thing is, I mean, are you providing value? Second, if you observe, when I kind of stalk all of you guys, I send out a small snippet of message and I say, okay, this is how you can do it. That's very small, which you can share in turn. And I have seen sometimes Tamana, Rajat and Rishabh and everybody, they also share that on their WhatsApp status, very small. But if I would give a very big paragraph, then they will not do that. So you need to help them, help you, trumpet you. So in a way, you need to say, okay, this message, can you share it with others? Then they will do it. Again, it all has to start with, are you providing value to them? Then they will do it. Okay. If there are no other questions, we will stop here now. And as I said, this is the 10th session that I have. And I am incredibly thankful to all of you who come every week. Hopefully you have found value, and I would appreciate if you could check out my course, Gravitas Wins. And you can share these messages with others, maybe on my, you can share the YouTube link, or you can comment on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever that you find, YouTube, wherever you find. And I've also started a podcast. So if you can listen to the podcast wherever you are listening, it is available on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Overcast, everywhere. So please listen to it and give us a thumbs up. and leave comments. I would appreciate it a lot. Okay. So see
Joseph,
you all
what
the
is
next
the first